And he said, you know, in the end, you just have to believe, and that's what faith is, and you just have to believe. And that was a struggle for me. That didn't feel right, because I felt surely religion and belief, it's more than just like a hunch, or it's more than a feeling, or it's more than an idea. Like I wanted something that felt more concrete. And the same weekend at my university, there was a conference that had been put on by the local Muslim Student Association, and they brought in a speaker from England. And I just remember walking in that weekend, and all of the youth were there, all of these students, and everybody wanted to meet him. He was quite popular at the time. And everybody wanted to talk to him and spend time with him. And I walked up to him, and he just sat and answered all of my questions. And I just remember thinking, wow, like, I went to this pastor and I had these questions, and he couldn't give me his answers. He couldn't be clear to me. And then this man who everybody wants to speak with, he dedicated hours, literally hours of his time to just sit there and to answer my questions. And the other really unique part of it, because I asked him the same questions I asked the pastor, I asked him questions about the Bible. And this brother from England, he gave me the history, not from the Muslim perspective. He was a comparative religious scholar, and he gave me the perspective from the Christian church, from the Christian history books. And he says, look, this is the history. If you want to go read about it, you can just go to like a Christian textbook that you would find at a Christian university. And I so appreciated that perspective, because I didn't want his bias. I wanted truth. I wanted something concrete, which is what I had gone to the pastor for. And in that moment, I felt like so much relief that I was like, there it is, there's the facts. But at the same time, I questioned, why had I never learned this when I went to church or Sunday school? Because I was very active in the Christian church growing up. And anyway, so at the end of the evening, he asked me, he said, you know, do you believe in Allah? And I said, yeah, like I've always believed in God, that's no problem. The concept of God has never been an issue. And then he said, do you believe that the Prophet Muhammad is his, like, the final prophet and messenger? And I said, yeah, I think that makes sense. And then, so he said to me, he said, like, go wash, take your ablutions, and come back, and let's, like, give your shahada, your testimony of faith. And I was just like, whoa, no, this is not happening right now. I can't do this right now. Because again, I was at that point where, like, I knew it was truth, but I was so scared to take the step. And it was funny, because I had prayed and I had asked God, I was like, who are you? And show me truth. And there it was. But in that moment, it was just like, I needed to take the step, you know, like God did his part. It was time for me to do mine. But again, I knew what that meant for me. I knew that meant the following day I would put on hijab, or which not everybody does, but for me it was a really important step. I knew, like, if I was going to make this decision, I was going to live as a Muslim. And that was going to mean no more drinking alcohol, and, you know, no partying, no pork, no, you know, like putting a hijab on. And so I told him, no, like, I'm not going to become Muslim tonight. And we continued the discussion. And at the end of it, I said, look, this conference is 2 days long. If at the end of the weekend I feel like I do today, like, I will become Muslim, I'll make that decision, which is what I did. So that was a Friday night. And then on the Sunday, May 14th, I gave my testimony of faith in front of everybody at this conference and became Muslim. It was extremely scary because Islam was not well received in the media at the time. And I knew that if I told them, I was probably going to lose them. And those two friends that I sat with that night, they were incredibly supportive, and they're still two of my best friends today. There's lots of other people that didn't support me. And eventually, after I became Muslim, I took some time and I sent out an email to everybody. A lot of my older friends and high school friends, they were in a different city. I went to university in a different city. So I told people over email, and I told my family a week or so after I had become Muslim. And they were living in a different city. And of course it was difficult because they didn't know what to expect. It was really scary for them, right? They didn't know what I was going to look like, or what did that mean, and they didn't see the process. They hadn't seen me looking into things. They didn't know the Muslim community. Again, their experience of Islam was what they had seen in the media. My dad was a police officer. It was really difficult for them. It was really hard. My mom was very fearful that there's this movie, Not Without My Daughter. She was really fearful I was going to fall into, like, I was going to be kidnapped, or that if I got married, you know, that my children were going to be taken away from me. I would never leave the house. Like, all of these bizarre Hollywood kind of perceptions of Islam that are put on them. That was their experience, right? And so they really struggled. My dad was for different reasons, my mom for different reasons. Eventually, over time, they've certainly come around, and we're still very close, but there were some major struggles early on. I definitely lost some friends. Some of my friends decided to put distance for myself because my lifestyle was different now in terms of just my leisure activities and things I did, places I went. Some of that distance I put. Eventually, what I learned is that the people that were most important to me and the truest of friends, it didn't matter. They were going to be there no matter what, which has been my experience. My truest friends are still my friends today. And then the other people that were really negative and had kind of those really aggressive, kind of abrasive responses, they aren't people that I need in my life right now anyway. You know, those aren't, if you're not going to love me as I am no matter what, then you don't need to be a part of my life. People I didn't know in the community that I lived in at the time, I remember feeling like everybody was looking at me. Like, I remember feeling, people were staring, but that was probably just my own insecurity at the time. Although I certainly did experience some discrimination within the community. But overall, my experience has been quite positive. Certainly the Muslim community opened their arms to me and were incredibly supportive, and I felt so much love and such a sense of community and respect there, which was extremely helpful early on. Having that community connection, I think, was major. It was very key in terms of my feeling so strong and willing to continue when things were difficult. But otherwise, that's been okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I was so ignorant towards Islam before I became Muslim. As I said, I really didn't know. I really didn't know anything, and I think afterwards, it wasn't that my mind necessarily changed. I think I was so much more educated, and I had such a